Hello and welcome to Donington Park. We're here for the penultimate race of what's been a very competitive season for the Britcar Endurance Championship. 7 months ago, the race for the title began at Silverstone, and today the champion will be crowned. And the FF course team come here as points leaders, but they're being pushed all the way by Javier Morcillo and Manuel Cintrano for Neil Garner Motorsports. 2014 has been a season full of twists and turns, as Chris Harley explains.
Silverstone hosted the opening rounds of the championship, and in race one, Morcillo and Cintrano had an epic battle with Mike Millard for the lead. Despite a mid-race spin while he was trying to overtake the Mosler, Millard came back to take the victory with the Spaniard second. The Ferrari of Lockie and Mason finished 5th overall, but driving solo in race 2, Lockie took a class win and got onto the overall podium. The race win, though, went to Morcillo and Cintrano, thus giving them the early championship lead. The Neil Garner Motorsport duo then extended their advantage by winning the first race at Donington Park. But a spin on a slippery track meant they could only finish 6th in race 2. By finishing 3rd and 4th in the 2 races at Donington, Lockie and Mason closed to within 2 points of the championship lead. Rounds 5 and 6 took Britcar to the legendary Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Morcillo and Cintrano managed to notch up their 3rd win of the season in race 1, but a broken drive shaft in race 2 cost time, and they were only 11th in the second encounter. Meanwhile, Lockie and Mason were proving super consistent. Just like at Donington, they finished 3rd and 4th, and that now moved them into the championship lead by just a single point. For Morcillo and Cintrano, the low point of the season was undoubtedly Alton Park, where this first corner shunt put them out of the race. But after some heroics back in the garage, somehow Neil Garner Motorsport managed to get the car fixed in time for the team to take a memorable victory in race 2. But a 3rd and a 6th meant that Lockie and Mason left Alton with an increased 5-point lead. Their advantage was further extended when Lockie took FF Corsa's first outright victory of the year at Snetterton, followed by a 2nd place finish in race 2. And for the first time this season, Morcillo and Cintrano went a whole weekend without taking a win, 4th in race 1, followed by a retirement due to an alternator failure in race 2. Rounds 11 and 12 took us back to Silverstone, where Morcillo and Cintrano's campaign got back on track with a podium and then their 5th win of the season. 2nd and 6th, plus bonus points for class poles and fastest laps, though, meant that Lockie scored the same number of points across the weekend. So, with their 2 worst scores discounted, they arrive here separated by just 6 points. A steady weekend should see Lockie and Mason through, but Morcillo and Cintrano still have a chance and are not yet ready to give up the fight.
I am really happy, really proud of all we've done this season. Manuel, my co-driver, it's done his best season ever, and that's my job here. So I am really, really happy of the season. We've managed to do 5 wins so far. That's after hard work, fair play, doing things correctly and having the best team of people around. So I couldn't be any happier.
We are taking exactly the same approach to these races as we've taken to all the others, because it's worked so far, so why change it? There's been some pretty stiff competition, and to be at this point leading the overall championship is it's very exciting indeed. If you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, you might have had quite a different answer.
First blood went to Morcillo and Cintrano as they took pole position away from Lockie and Mason towards the end of what was an exciting qualifying session on a drying track.
It was really good fun. It was wet and it was drying, so we knew we had to fit slicks and produce heat in them to make them work, which is really, really difficult, because to produce heat you have to push. You cannot push because it's like ice, and you have to break that circle to make it happen. And I actually spun off and could manage to go back and do it correctly the second time.
So Mortheo and Cintrano will start from pole with their championship rivals alongside. The Ferrari of Darren Nelson and Nigel Greensill lines up third, and a terrific effort by Nathan Freak to put Steve Fressel's Class 3 Ginetta fourth on the grid. On board with Manuel Cintrano, who will start the Mosler from pole position. A 90-minute race about to get underway. The safety car peels in. To the right of your shot there is Callum Lockie in the Ferrari. Here we go then, the penultimate round of the championship. And it's a fabulous start for the Ferrari. Callum Lockie's going to get straight into the lead of the race. And the other Ferrari comes up the inside. That's Darren Nelson going second. Cintrano down to third. Steve Fressel around the outside. A bit of contact. And Nelson is sent into a spin. The BMW's taken evasive action. And Steve Fressel having his own spin there, I think, in the Ginetta number 36. So Darren Nelson rejoins, firing the engine back up is Steve Fressel. At least they'll get going again. But a dramatic first corner there. A couple of incidents going on at the same time. There is the BMW, Richard Neary, number 3. Great evasive action, great reactions to get past all of that. Anna Walewska's made a good start to the race, and she's now on the attack, coming after the very quick starting Seika, driven by, at this stage of the race, Alan Purbrick, but she goes around the outside of him on the climb up through Schwantz Curve, and she gets the place. So Lockie leads the way, and who's going to emerge in second place? Callum Lockie's going to have a pretty significant lead. It was still going to be the Mosler in second, up to third place, and Sally Yolek in his first season of racing, his first season of GT racing, the Optimum Motorsport Ginetta, is up to third place. Anna Walewska fourth after that move on Alan Purbrick. Seika in fifth place. Oh, and Steve Fressel, having got going again, has his own spin again. That's this time up at Coppice. 2 spins on the opening lap. He's buried in the gravel trap. That's Darren Nelson coming past to pick up at least one place. And it looks like he's going to have to wait for recovery here. The marshals will come and try and dig the Ginetta out of the gravel trap. So there is the BMW of Anna Walewska. There is the red Pro Sport of Mike Millard. Mike, who has been driving his Rapier for the last couple of seasons. Blew an engine at Silverstone. We didn't think we were going to see Mike again, but he's found that Pro Sport, which has been in his garage for 6 years. He's dug it out, and it went pretty well in qualifying this morning until late on in the session. The track was drying. He had a bit of a problem with the car. Where everybody else was getting quicker on a drying track, he couldn't quite improve. So he's coming from the back. Here's a replay of what happened at the front, though. Keep an eye on the second Ferrari. Good move by Darren Nelson to get through into second place. And then he just gets that little tap from the Mosler. Steve Fressel, I thought initially, was having some evasive action there, but he just went too wide into the corners. He went off the road. The BMWs both did well. Mike Millard did well as well to avoid Darren Nelson's spinning car. And the rest of them all made it through. Here's a replay of that incident on board with Manuel Cintrano. So Darren Nelson is cleanly through. Just a little tap there as Darren was a bit slow through the apex after pulling off the move. Nothing deliberate from Manuel. He's not that sort of driver. And here's a replay of Steve Fressel. So the incident on the inside there, Steve's trying to go around the outside of everybody, and he's a bit ambitious on cold tyres, just runs out of road and gets into the gravel trap and into a half spin. So it's all kicking off at the start of the race, a 90-minute race, but they're all going for it through turn 1. And having rejoined and then gone off again, that's the Ginetta being pulled off the gravel trap at Coppice Corner now. So Anna Walewska going well here. She's second in class, though, at the moment, behind that Ginetta. Sally Yolek making a great start, the young Turkish driver. But Anna is a bit quicker at the moment and coming back at him. So those two pushing each other hard. And there, coming through and gaining a place now, is Mike Millard. Is ahead of Richard Neary's BMW. So Mike finding some pace in that Pro Sport. There's Darren Nelson, who's picked up another place now, so he's moved ahead of the Class 3 Alan Purbrick-driven Seika. We go on board now with Anna Walewska, continuing to close the gap now to the Class 3 leader, Sally Yolek. Ewan Hankey will get into that Ginetta for the second stint. The very experienced former Britcar champion Kevin Clark will get into this car, the Intersport BMW, and they're looking for the Class 3 championship title. And just pick up a few points here this weekend, they'll be able to seal the deal in that one. There is the overall race leader, though, Callum Lockie. He had something like a 6 or 7 second lead at the end of lap number 1 with everything that was going on behind him. Trying to hang on to him is Manuel Cintrano. He's the gentleman driver, the amateur driver of the team. The professional Javier Mortheo were getting for the second stint. Anna Walewska now right onto the heels of the Ginetta and looking for a move on the way to Redgate Corner. This is for the Class 3 lead as she goes through. That's a terrific move, and that's for third place overall now for Anna Walewska. So after a disappointing round at Silverstone, the Intersport BMW crew are going well here. Down through the Crater curve she goes. Sally Yolek now behind her in the Ginetta. There is Mike Millard, and he's trying to catch the pair of them. He's now running in 5th place, having started at the back of the field. Into the pits comes Steve Fressel, so he's been recovered from the gravel trap, and they're going to need to check the car over now, the Century Motorsport crew. Meanwhile, Sally Yolek is very much hanging on to the rear wing here of Anna Valeska, having lost that Class 3 lead. He's picked up his pace here. I know the team at Optimum Motorsport, Sean Goff, the team principal, and Ewan Hankey, his co-driver and driver coach, have been very impressed with what he's done in his first season of racing. There is Richard Neary going well in the Class 3 BMW, but he is being reeled in by Darren Nelson, the recovering Darren Nelson, who's in a more powerful Class 2 Ferrari. Now, Mike Millard has caught this battle between the two Class 3 cars in the Class 2 Pro Sport. Should be a quicker car, should have more horsepower. Lots of aerodynamics on that car as well. Very low slung, as you can see. Callum Lockie, meanwhile, is starting to lap some of the slower drivers and slower cars now. And that's coming past Alan Purbrick through McLean's and up towards Coppice Corner. So Callum starting to go through the traffic now. He doesn't need to rush. He has got a 16-second lead over the Mosler, but he needs to build up as much advantage as he can, knowing that the Mosler's going to have its quicker driver in for the second stint, and that Callum is going to be replaced by David Mason, who, with all due respect, is not as quick as Callum. So I want to build up a laps advantage if he can, but Manuel Cintrano is driving very well here, and he's got better and better as the season's gone on. Good performances at Snetterton and Silverstone. He's going well here. That's the Century Motorsport Ginetta, with I think all of the gravel being taken out of it, so that's going to take some time before they get the car back on track. Meanwhile, Mike Millard still breathing down the neck now of Sally Yolek, and he's about to launch an attack here, I think down the inside. This is on the run down towards the chicane at the end of the lap. Just in front of them, you're on board with Anna Valeska. The three of them together then, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Anna still at the head of the pack, coming back out onto the start-finish straight, and Mike Millard has got through. That was on the run into the chicane, so he's got ahead of Sally Yolek. He's split the two Class 3 cars, and already he's looking up the inside here to get another place, trying to get past the BMW, almost dwarfed there. She could probably barely see him in the mirrors as she goes into Redgate Corner. So low slung is that Pro Sport, but look how quick he is on the exit here. Huge acceleration, but you'd be a brave man to try and overtake down through the Craner curves. There is not a lot of room there. Maybe down into the old hairpin. No, not quite. Anna Valeska good on the brakes there. The BMW hanging on for the time being to 3rd place. Richard Neary almost caught now by Darren Nelson. That's the battle for 6th position. So 3rd, 4th and 5th are together, 6th and 7th are together. Here's Anna Valeska coming out through Coppice Corner onto the straight, up through the gears now. Oh, she's actually pointing Mike Millard past. They're thinking about the points here, and he's in a different class to them, so maybe not too much point fighting him too hard. Anna Valeska sensibly, I think they're letting Mike Millard just quite a bit quicker through. He'll pick up 3rd place, but she still leads Class 3. Her fight really is with that Ginetta, which is still right behind her. Sally Yolek driving really, really well here. Got a class win in his first ever weekend in Britcar at Alton Park back in the summer. And it's good to see him back here. One for the future, definitely. Now we've got the Seika that's coming to the pits now. So we've got the Steve Fressel Ginetta still in. And now Alan Purbrick has brought the Seika in with the drama. Callum Lockie is coming up now to lap the BMW of Richard Neary, which has been passed, rather unsurprisingly, by Darren Nelson in a more powerful Ferrari. Richard is going to hand over to the very experienced, very, very quick Martin Short, the Roll Centre Racing BMW. Looking to be lapped now, though, by Callum Lockie. He has to be patient down through the Craner curves. He dives at the inside on the way into the old hairpin, and he goes through. Another car laps, and he's not losing too much time through the traffic. Manuel Cintrano, he's around about 30 seconds back now, still doing a good job, still on the lead lap, still keeping his team in with the hunt of the championship here. He's in 2nd place as he now goes down through the Craner curves. And here we've got Darren Nelson trying to get back up into the top 5 if he can before he hands over to Nigel Greensaw. But the other Class 2 Ferrari is about to lap him, I think. On board with Anna Valeska, struggling to go up through the gears here. That didn't sound too healthy for the Intersport BMW. And now she's waving through. Well, that must be Sally Yolek in the Ginetta, yeah. So she's clearly got a problem. She would not be waving a Class 3 car through if she didn't think she had a big problem there. So that doesn't sound too good. Maybe some sort of clutch issue, electronic issue, a gearbox issue, something like that, developing on the Intersport car. Here is Callum Lockie then, and he's going to go through now to lap the other Ferrari. So Callum Lockie continues to march on in the lead of the race here at Donington.
We're going to take a short break now, but don't go anywhere. We'll have the climax to the race in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Donington Park. We're halfway through our coverage of the penultimate race of the Britcar Endurance Championship, so let's rejoin our commentator Chris Hartley.
Callum Lockie continues to lead the race here, trying to wrap up the championship. This is the penultimate round of the 2014 Britcar season. In second place, we have got their championship rivals, Manuel Cintrano and Javier Morcillo. Third is Mike Millard. Anna Walewska was running in third place, but the Class 3 leader, or former Class 3 leader, now losing another place here, and a clutch problem developing on that BMW. So that is Darren Nelson, who got involved in an incident at turn 1, coming back through in the Ferrari, back up into the top 6. On board with Steve Fressel, who's gone back out now after a lengthy pit stop. He had 2 spins on the first lap of the race. Lots of gravel had to be taken out of the car. So he's back on track, and he loses the back end. Oh dear, has another spin, this time at the chicane. Steve has just come off his novice plates. He has been getting more and more competitive. He drove really well at Snetterton and at Silverstone, but unfortunately today has not been his day. There's still another race to come this weekend though, and I'll try and get the car sorted for that one. So a frustrating day for the team, particularly after an excellent qualifying performance from Nathan Freak, who's standing in for Zoe Wenneman, being the racing partner to Steve this weekend. Got the car 4th on the grid overall. So there's Mike Millard then, going well in 3rd place. This car which has been brought out of retirement, especially for these last 2 rounds here at Donington Park. He had a 2nd place finish at this circuit earlier on in the season. There is the Class 3 leader, running in 4th place, Sally Yolek. In 5th place, we've got Darren Nelson now in the Ferrari, and 6th is Anna Walewska, or she was, but she's come into the pits now, and this car problem, this clutch issue, sending the Class 3 leaders into the garage. Meanwhile, there's David Mason getting ready to get into the race-leading Ferrari. Nigel Greensaw, centre of picture, getting ready to get into his Ferrari. Let's see what he can do in the 2nd stint of the race. Richard Neary out of the BMW. Martin Short gets into the Roll Centre car. And from 2nd place, Manuel Cintrano, after a very good stint to stay within 36 seconds of Callum Lockie, getting out of the car to hand over to Javier Morcillo. Fresh tyres going on to the Mosler, and it will go back out. There is Richard Neary, I think, trying to describe what happened at the start of the race. He took very good evasive action to avoid getting tangled up with the incident at Redgate Corner. Darren Nelson was involved in all of that. He's now strapping in Nigel Greensaw to the Carnell number 31 Ferrari after a pretty good recovery drive to get the car back up to 5th place. Out of action, though, is the Intersport BMW.
What we've done, we've retired the car about halfway through the race, so we can still get our points. Even though we haven't finished the whole race, we still collect the points. And we've done that really damage control so that we can do the night race and pick up some points in the night race. Otherwise, circulating around, clutch has gone on the car. We're just going to do more and more damage. So that's the strategy.
So Sally Yolek has brought the Optimum Motorsport Ginetta in from the Class 3 lead. There's Ewan Hankey, the ex-Porsche Carrera Cup racer, about to get in for the 2nd stint. He's being strapped in, and into the pits comes the race leader, Callum Lockie, at the end of nearly 50 minutes of racing. And fuel is about to go in, but he's got to get out of the car first before the FF Course team can refuel the Ferrari. David Mason will be given something like a 36-second lead. Although that lead is being whittled down, because now that he's on board the Mosler, Javier Morcillo is absolutely flying. Fastest man out there. He's about to get back onto the lead lap. Nigel Greensaw is also flying in the Ferrari. Let's hear from his teammate, Darren Nelson.
I tried to get a jump on the start, and I think I did. I got right to the front of the pack, and then somebody come behind me just gave me a little tiny tap as I was just warming the tyres up around that corner, and obviously went into a spin and lost quite a bit of time really. So thought I had them all, but I didn't manage to quite do what I wanted to do. But I left it to Nigel as usual now. Let's see where he gets.
On board with Javier Morcillo then, on the rise up towards Coppice Corner, and he's within a few seconds of David Mason after David has just rejoined from the pits. There is David in the race-leading Ferrari. There in the red, white and black Mosler is Javier Morcillo, and he dives past at the first opportunity, and that's for the race lead. So from a 36-second deficit, the Neil Garner Motorsport duo are back into the lead of the race. There is Mike Millard running in 3rd position, and he's been reeled in now by Nigel Greensaw. Nigel has already got past the Class 3 Ginetta of Ewan Hankey up to 4th place, and sadly the Roll Centre BMW is now the only other Class 3 car out there after Steve Fressel has retired.
The clutch is gone, but that's probably my doing. couple of spins on cold tyres in the first lap, didn't help us very much. And then overcooked it coming into the chicane in the lap. And the clutch was slipping a bit before that, but that was the end of it. So unfortunately the boys now have got a bit of a job to do to try and get this thing out for tonight's night race.
Here's Mike Millard then in third place, being absolutely hauled in by Nigel Greensall. He's about 2 seconds a lap quicker, so on this lap he might be able to get through somewhere. On the way into Redgate corner they go, then Mike Millard runs a little bit wide through the corner, and already Nigel fires his way through. So that's for a Class 2 position. It's also for third place overall. Continuing to lead Class 3, that is Ewan Hankey, who's a multiple race winner in the Porsche Carrera Cup. The BMW has come into the pits, so that means that the Ginetta is the only Class 3 car out there. There was David Mason just running through Coppice corner in second place, and Nigel Greensall much quicker. He's flying after him. This is for the Class 2 lead. It's for second place overall as well. So David Mason on board with him now as he goes down into the chicane, but he's going to have that other Ferrari breathing down his neck. They were a lap apart at the halfway mark, but now the roles have been reversed. Nigel goes through, and that's second place now from fifth when he got back into the car after the pit stops. Just behind is Mike Millard as well, and it's very conceivable that Mike could now overtake and get that Ferrari down to fourth place. So points being lost here by the championship leaders. David Mason also carrying an injury. He's been out of the car for a while, so he's doing his best here, but he has been overtaken by Mike Millard now, so down to fourth place. Meanwhile, their championship rivals are leading the way in the more powerful Class 1 car, and Javier Morcillo is going to bring this car home. He's going very slowly to try and make sure this is the last lap of the race. It is. The checkered flag comes out, and with the 6th win of the season, Javier Morcillo and Manuel Centrano close to within just a few points now of the championship leaders. So a fantastic race here, a confirmation of the results. Nelson and Greensall came through to second, Mike Millard third. Yolok and Hankey got ahead of the Ferrari as well to finish fourth in the end. Lockie and Mason take fifth. And that makes it much closer now going into the final round of the championship. Just 3 points between the top two. Guillaume Gruchet is guaranteed third. He's not here this weekend. Blesker, Clark and Donaldson almost guaranteed the Class 3 title. So the Neil Garner Motorsports pair still clinging on to their dream of winning a first Britcar title. Morcillo guided the car home in the second stint after the increasingly competitive Centrano kept the Mosler on the lead lap during the opening phase.
Manuel drove his best race. He's done his record in this circuit. He drove fantastically and just gave me a car with such a big distance that I only had to nurse it. So my stint was really easy. It was looking after the car and making sure I didn't make any mistakes, which is not as easy as it sounds. We don't have time to celebrate. If we want to win the championship, we got to win the second race, and it's going to be really tight on points. We are 2 points behind, and it's going to be a crazy an hour and a half.
So once again, Britcar has given us plenty of excitement, and the championship is still to be decided. So make sure you join us next time for the final race of the season, a night race right here at Donington Park. Until then, thanks for watching.